As the only beloved daughter in the family, I was spoiled by my three brothers. One day, a scheming woman showed up at the door, claiming to be the real heiress who had been mistakenly exchanged at birth. Once inside the house, she accused me, tears streaming down her face. I was supposed to inherit the family business, but you stole my life. I took a bite of the potato chips in my hand and hesitated. Are you saying I stole your life of eating chips and binge-watching dramas and shopping? Things in the world do not always have clear outcomes, but are merely a mutual torment. I indulged in my chips, my eyes glued to the screen without blinking. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Without even turning my head, knowing it must be our kind and gentle nanny aunt. Miss Irene, look at this. The nanny aunt's expression was hard to read, making me puzzled. I turned to look and saw a stranger. I was even more puzzled, thinking it must be a delivery or takeout service, best if the aunt dealt with it. I was about to turn back to continue watching TV when the woman spoke with a straight face. You imposter, still have the nerve to call me a delivery person? Pointing at myself, I retorted, imposter? Me? The woman barged in, pushing the nanny aside. Yes, I'm talking about you. You've stolen my identity for so many years, it's time to give it back to me. I almost laughed out of irritation. Where did this crazy woman come from? Get her out. The woman was strong, still in her shoes, looking quite crazy. I am the Smith's daughter. I am the beloved daughter of the Smiths. Who are you? The woman's eyes were bulging in anger. Did she seem to think that acting crazy in front of me would make her an heiress? I inherited 70% of my mom's beauty. As for her? I'm sorry that there are no crazy genes in our family. I didn't want to get into a fight with her, so I decided to stir things up. Brother, someone said your sister is a fake. Mom, how many daughters does Dad actually have? Dad, am I your favorite precious daughter? My brothers came back. Looking at the three of them standing neatly in front of me, I felt satisfied that yes, I was born into a wealthy family, but without the traditional family feud over inheritance. Though I had a rich family and talents, I simply enjoyed the feeling of being lazy. With three handsome and towering older brothers above me, the family's property troubles never reached me. But with money comes trouble. And trouble had just arrived. My older brother Eric's brows furrowed, and his handsome face made Mary, the crazy woman, instantly enamored. Brother, she began in a pitiful tone, completely different from her earlier tantrum. Who are you? You must be Eric, I'm Mary. My older brother Peter lounged comfortably on the couch. Mary? Who picked that name? It doesn't suit our style. I laughed, and Mary's face turned green. My younger brother Mark had a smile in his eyes as he sat next to me, patting my head. Did you eat potato chips again this afternoon? I was shocked. Indeed, he gracefully picked up the crumbs of chips that had fallen on the couch cushion. I chuckled. Mary tried to tug at Eric's suit sleeve, but he skillfully avoided her, sitting on a single sofa nearby. As far as I know, we don't have two daughters, and there's no possibility of Mom and Dad having an affair. So, who are you? Tears welled up in Mary's eyes. Brothers, it's been switched between us, causing a dramatic change in our lives. Now that I'm back, she should return this life to me. Peter chuckled. On what basis? Just your word? Mary nodded. Based on the truth I know, brothers. She's been deceiving you all for so long. Should she still live in peace here? Eric coldly stated. We have brains. And we brothers applauded together. When our parents came back, silence fell among us. Mary, on the other hand, was gazing at Eric with affection in her eyes. Eric looked impatient, but held back because our parents had just mentioned how hard it would be for him to find a wife with that poker face. He bore his discomfort, afraid of stirring up past issues. After our dad returned, he exchanged several glances between me and Mary. My mom furrowed her brows and patted his back. Speak up, how should we handle this? Mary had been waiting for my dad's return with teary eyes. Dad. My dad took my mom to the bedroom to explain. The rest of us sat on the couch like fools. I cautiously spoke up. Brothers? What's going on? Well, at least they answered me, showing that they didn't consider me a stranger. On the other hand, Mary seemed to be in a more difficult situation. She looked at the brothers pitifully, trying to salvage some affection. Brothers. Eric stood up, pulling Peter up with him, and walked purposefully to the kitchen. Hey, Eric, what are you doing? Peter struggled. Are you hungry? Make your own food. Eric replied, Irene is hungry. After the meal was served, my dad and mom came out of the bedroom. They seemed unfazed. Mary couldn't be driven away and ended up going to work at the company with me. I suspected my dad did something shady behind the scenes. Mary was smug as she got into the car with me. Her expression seemed to say, look, I'm so amazing that I can even go to work at a company. At that moment, she seemed like a spy to me. After arriving at the company, Mary got off the car before me, wearing her newly bought clothes, and swayed her way into the company when it was crowded with people. She even didn't forget to taunt me, saying that she had been studying hard for over 10 years, waiting for this moment, while I, being just a rich man's daughter, would never compare to her in any way. I was speechless. I didn't want to work with this crazy woman, I just loved to be lazy. So, I took advantage of her getting off the car, turned to the driver and said, go to the nearest mall, I need a few pieces of battle gear, let's take a look around. The driver, following my command, accelerated and drove off. What? Your dad cheated? My best friend Kathy, whom I had called to go shopping together, couldn't believe what she had just heard. I quickly covered her mouth, don't talk nonsense. She was even more shocked and exclaimed, then what are you? I playfully slapped her on her backside, what do you think? Kathy, in a serious tone, said, it's all right, if you can't be the Smith's daughter, you can come to my house, my parents are fed up with me these days, so be their daughter, being the White's daughter isn't bad either. I sometimes really admire her thoughts. I interrupted her coldly, okay, should I go to your home and be your role model older sister? I still prefer being lazy. Let's go, Starbucks has a new dessert, let's taste it. Come on, Kathy, and I ordered a table full of desserts and savored each one. Wow, this one is delicious. Yeah, not bad, the sweetness is just right. The two of us enjoyed the desserts as if we were dessert connoisseurs. Oh, by the way, my birthday banquet is tomorrow night, you didn't forget, right? How could I forget? You can trust me, you'll absolutely love the gift I got you. We exchanged a mischievous smile and continued savoring the desserts. Kathy hadn't finished her mouthful of layered cream when she pointed to my phone. Your brother is calling. I set down my fork and knife, wiped my mouth. What's the matter? Why is he calling me? Eric's voice came from the phone, coldly asking, I heard you skipped work? I chuckled, bro, this is not called skipping work, this is the joy of success. I then thought of Mary, did that woman report you to her? Eric responded with a soft, she said it during the morning meeting, what are you planning to do? What can I do? Of course, I'll smack her face hard, I'll be back to the office in the afternoon, get ready for a show. Bro, do you need any help? I waved my hand and grabbed another piece of cake in my mouth. No need, I'm eating, gotta go. But Kathy raised her head from the cake and gave me a knowing look. As she guessed it right. We exchanged smiles and continued eating. When I returned to the company, Mary was already waiting for me. My presence in the company was kept low-key, as I'm a discreet person who definitely aims to work diligently. In fact, it was my father who, in order not to let me be lazy in public, deliberately gave me a resume that would attract attention. Mary walked triumphantly to me, resembling a proud rooster full of arrogance. At that moment, the furious director walked out and saw me, then quickly approached me. What's the matter, minor? I presented him with a clear attendance certificate on my phone. The director was taken aback for a moment, but when he glanced at Mary's face, he quickly continued, then what have you been doing all morning? Why didn't you attend the morning meeting? What's going on? Mary fanned the flames. Yes, what have you been doing all morning? Going to the mall for shopping, clearly showing disrespect towards the leadership. The director's anger noticeably intensified, and the people around didn't dare to speak up, silently watching the scene unfold. I had a look of I knew it and tossed the folder from my bag onto the table. There you go, right here. A contract stood right in front of them. You closed this deal? Didn't you say you were still working on the proposal the day before yesterday? And now you've closed it today? The director's look of disbelief pleased me. It was a piece of cake. Mary was planning to play tricks and whispered to the director. Director, she was eating, drinking, and playing outside all morning. How could she have time to sign a contract? It's obvious. She hesitated, not expecting that the director didn't care at all. To him, there was only the contract symbolizing his year-end bonus. The director coughed lightly, knowing that as a director, he still had to maintain his authority. All right, this time I'll count this as your attendance, don't make it a habit. Mary panicked, Director, that's not fair. Oh, it's okay to correct your mistakes. With that said, he happily took the contract and went to report completion. I looked at the equally stunned Mary and snapped my fingers at her. See, didn't expect that, huh? Mary coldly snorted, "You got lucky this time, next time won't be so easy, just wait and see. As for business talk, that's something I grew up around, subtly learning the ropes." Keep watching? Keep watching, I'll even play with the CEO next time. The next evening, I was on my way to Kathy's birthday banquet, except that the car seemed a bit crowded. Mary adjusted her skirt, looking pleased. Didn't expect this, Dad agreed to let me come with you. I didn't even bother to look at her. Even if you go, you don't know anyone, wouldn't that be awkward? She smiled, do you think only you can know people? I have my own circle of friends. Mary's smug look was too much for me to bear. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Upon arriving at the banquet hall, I got off the car before Mary and met Kathy in another corridor. At the end of the hallway, this woman lifted her skirt as she ran towards me, asking, "How do I look? Am I beautiful today? Will I attract all the male guests?" After looking around, I gave her a satisfied look. "Not bad, you outshine everyone here." Kathy was content and pulled me towards the dressing room. "Come on, help me dress up, we'll make an entry together later." "Well, you look good in this outfit too, Irene." We finally finished the preparations with some photo shoot in between. Stepping down from the crowd, Kathy immediately spotted me. "I can't do this anymore, these high heels are killing me, get me a pair of flat shoes to cover my feet." I caught her as we walked towards the backstage. Kathy kept gossiping along the way. "Oh, you won't believe it, this guy keeps trying to get me to drink alcohol." Furrowing my brows, "He wants to see you embarrassed again?" Kathy nodded, "He's really sneaky, keep your distance from him." We shared a smile as we slowly made our way to the backstage resting room. "You see, she's always neglecting me like this." Really, she's so bad, I never noticed before." "Yeah, when the Smith's daughter was with us, she was very gentle, without any baggage." "No, she's good at pretending, even fooled the Smith's 3 brothers." "Can't they see her intelligence?" Kathy got irritated, slightly relieving her feet in high heels. She kicked open the door of the restroom, startling the few women inside. "What are you doing?" Kathy yelled at the top of her voice, "What are you doing? You still ask me what I'm doing? I'm going to tear up your mouth." I slowly showed up behind her, clapping my hands. "Well said." Kathy raised an eyebrow in my direction. Upon seeing the few women who had been gossiping with Mary, they immediately apologized and quickly ran off. Once they were gone, I coldly snorted, "See, these are your so-called good friends?" Mary, furious, shouted after us as we left. "You just wait for me." I waved my hand, "I'll wait, you always make me wait, but nothing good comes out of it." Kathy mercilessly burst into laughter. As Kathy went to change her clothes, I walked into the hall alone, looking for some desserts to munch on. But to my surprise, 3 of my older brothers and Mary were standing together, watching me in unison. Mark waved at me. With a knowing smile, I walked over. Sure enough, I heard Mary's voice. "Brother, I know it was wrong of me to feel neglected and not included by my sister. I know I don't deserve to play with my sister, but my sister still." She covered her face, tearfully playing the victim. Unfortunately, none of my 3 brothers bought into her act. They remained silent, quietly waiting for me to say something. "Oh, I hit her. Is your hand hurting?" I nodded, "It hurts, I need a gem to comfort me to make it better." Mary still wanted to struggle and fight for a bit of dignity for herself. "Brothers, my face really hurts, will it leave a mark?" Her pitiful move was useless against my brother. Peter raised his eyes indifferently, not responding at all. I stifled a laugh. Mary was very aggrieved. Would my brothers just stand by and watch me get bullied when she was the one being mistreated? I picked up the red wine beside me and splashed it over her. "Just bullying you, what can you do? The red wine can't wash away that stench on you." I looked at the 3 brothers and found that they all had a pleased expression on their faces. "You're just here watching the show?" In order to maintain my gentle and delicate daughter image, Eric brought the red wine-soaked woman downstairs. Peter patted my shoulder approvingly, "Not bad, Irene, you look pretty cool when you get tough." I brushed off his hand and smirked. "Of course." Mark smiled gently and advised, "Be more careful next time and watch your image in high society." Eric stood with his hands in his pockets, drinking from his glass, without saying a word. But I could tell he was also quite pleased with my attitude. I leaned closer to the three brothers and asked softly, "Did you see the different relationship between her and the Booth son?" The three brothers looked at me with a look that seemed to say, "Just realized?" I thought I was the first to discover Mary's affair with the Booth son, but it turned out I was the last. I asked all the way, but no one was willing to tell me what they were planning. In the end, it was Mark who kindly reminded me, "If you feel wronged, just let it out." Peter also looked over. "Yeah, Irene is more suited for a laid-back approach. I love lying down, but I'm not stupid enough to let others bully me. I will never allow myself to be wronged even a little bit. And even if you don't tell me, I can guess it myself. I didn't expect Mary to stand in front of her parents with a 99.99% confirmed document regarding her family relationship. It was visible that her mother's face darkened instantly. "Jack, come with me," my father sneaked in. I shook my head repeatedly, thinking to myself, did I just walk into a trap? Now how do I prove it? Dad will have to start pacifying Mom again. Now the house was eerily quiet, the brothers hadn't returned, and I couldn't tell them about the twists and turns that had occurred. It was just Mary and me staring at each other. Finally, I broke the silence by munching on a potato chip. Mary reached out to me. "Irene, although you're leaving soon, I feel like we can still be friends, right?" I wiped the potato chip residue on her sleeve. "Don't shake hands, dirty." Mary was so angry that her face turned green. "Dirty? And you're wiping it on me?" I gave her a gentle look. "I meant your hands were dirty." She composed herself and continued, "My best friend's birthday is coming up soon, and I invite you to join. What do you think? Of course, you can also see it as your farewell party, since you're no longer going to be the Smith's daughter." I continued eating my chips, not interested. Mary handed me a tissue, and I looked at her in confusion, as if to say, "Are you okay?" Mary didn't care. "Clean up, because once you leave this house, you won't find someone as kind as me." I couldn't stand it. She always put on airs about becoming a rich girl soon, and kept saying I would be kicked out of the house. What a big mouth. I looked at her and retorted, "You're not a kind person, you're a scheming shrimp, always pointing fingers everywhere thinking you're someone special." I shoved a chip in my mouth and turned up the volume on the TV. Brother. Wait, how could my brother be back at this hour? Irene. Eric's voice made me almost jump. "When did you come back? Walking so silently, trying to scare someone?" Eric glanced at Mary, didn't say hello, and walked directly towards me, taking away the half-eaten potato chips. "What are you doing, bro?" Eric turned back, looking at me. "What do you think?" The warning in his eyes was clear. I knew I shouldn't eat junk food, my digestion would suffer, and I should eat more fruits and vegetables. But I didn't care. I loved my chips. While Eric was lecturing me about taking care of my body, Mary thought he was standing up for her. She looked grateful. "Thank you, brother." Eric looked puzzled, took the chips to the study, and went to talk to Dad about something. I saw through everything but chose not to tell her. I just enjoyed watching her act presumptuously. When Kathy came to find me during afternoon tea, I was being forced to drink ginger soup. "I'm not drinking ginger soup." The housekeeper looked helpless. "Mr. said you caught a cold yesterday and still ate chips, so you should have some to warm up." I shouted, "No, this must be Eric's twisted idea." Kathy stood at the door and saw me playing chase with the housekeeper, and she couldn't stop laughing. "What are you guys playing? Take me along." In the end, I yelled and darted into Kathy's Maserati, shouting at the housekeeper, "I'm not drinking ginger soup, let's go have coffee, bye-bye." What? The paternity test turned out to be true? I quickly covered her mouth, gesturing for her to keep it down. Kathy couldn't believe it. "What? No way, your dad looks like he wants to be glued to your mom 24/7, how is that possible?" I nodded, "So I guess it's related to the Booths." Kathy was puzzled. "The Booths?" She was about to ask more when suddenly a foot wearing high heels kicked me under the table. "Look!" I yelped, following her gaze, and there he was, that person we just mentioned. Kathy put on her sunglasses and handed me a pair too. Is that woman out of her mind, with such big ambitions? I shook my head. No, from the start, she had a purpose in approaching our family. We've been competing with the Booths recently, and one deal just couldn't go through, with the Booths being the troublemakers. I suspected this was a stupid idea from that Booth's son, using a fake relationship to confuse things so they can take advantage. It's like watching too many soap operas, they've lost their minds. Kathy didn't fully understand, but she knew the Booth's troublemaker was at it again. She clapped her hands. One day I'll just have to give him a good beating, and he'll behave. I stared at the two of them and asked, "Do you know the Lee's daughter?" Kathy shook her head. "Don't know her, what's up?" I continued, "Mary invited me to her birthday party, but since it's not in the high society circle, there's even less reason for me to go. 3 days later, Mary knocked on my door in a rage. "Who's there, making a fuss so early in the morning, the market?" Mary was startled by my loud voice. "You," she finally spoke, "why didn't you come to the birthday party? I clearly invited you. Aren't you rich girls supposed to value honesty? How could you break your word like that? When did I agree to come, may I ask? And I don't care much for those things, I just don't value keeping promises." I turned to look behind her. "Hey, bro, why are you here?" Mary quickly changed her expression, looking pitifully behind her, only to find no one there. Did she realize my childish ploy, but I had already locked the door behind her. Who would have thought that shortly after I closed the door, Peter actually showed up? He wanted to take me to the company, but I had been disturbed from my peaceful sleep and completely forgotten about it. Peter saw Mary standing at the door and immediately guessed what had just happened. "What are you doing, standing in front of my sister's door so early? Our princess no longer needs servants to bow to her." Mary tried to explain, but couldn't say a word. "If you have this time, why not think about how to make a grand exit?" Peter was merciless. "You can enjoy yourself, that's what's most important." He scolded, feeling relieved, and hummed a tune as he left, dressing in his suit to go to work. Leaving Mary alone, her face turned purple with anger. "You all are too much." I opened the door and flung a pillow out. "Why are you making a fuss? Are you insane?" I warned her not to push me to the point of hitting her in the house. Mary ran back to her room in tears. I had a satisfying nap and woke up in the afternoon. A lovely weekend, yet I had to spend time attending a class reunion. If it weren't for gathering evidence, who would bother to go? My mind was full of Kathy's playful thoughts, but at the mention of the class reunion, her eyes lit up. "Which bar is it? Do you have a private booth? Can we drink as much as we want?" Kathy and I arrived at the club together, exchanging a smile and eagerly anticipating what was to come next. Led by the staff, we entered a private room, and as soon as we opened the door, my eyes landed on Calvin, the idiot from the booths, sitting in seat C, with Mary by his side. Most of our former classmates were either wealthy or influential, so seeing us come in, they all greeted us warmly as old acquaintances. Kathy, Irene, the two busybees, finally decided to join the class reunion, huh? I laughed and teased, No, we are not such busy people, and besides, it was you who didn't show up earlier." The people greeting us were surrounded by a few of Calvin's friends who echoed his sentiments. We had a few drinks and sat next to Mary. "Oh, are you not pretending anymore? Admit you're having an affair with Calvin and trying to get to my family," I teased Mary, who visibly flustered. "No, it's not like that," she hurriedly responded. Calvin shielded her. "Don't scare her." Kathy and I chuckled. "Oh my, who would have thought our Calvin is still such a romantic at heart?" Calvin's eyes suddenly sharpened. "No, it's not like that." Mary hid behind Calvin, timidly speaking up. "Calvin is just kind-hearted and protective of me. Please don't speak out of turn. Calvin only brought me out to meet the world because I was bored. You're not willing to talk to me." I almost spit out the drink I had just sipped. In terms of being nauseating, no one could beat this girl. "Not willing to talk to you?" "Yes, talking to you is a waste of my time. I'm afraid I might throw up," I retorted. Kathy was beside me, playing along. "Exactly. Let's see some drama." Kathy noticed it too, and smiled mischievously.